Hey, it's Grant with Pippin Technical, and today we're going to show you how to get your Dante device talking with your AXIA network. Everything's AES 67 compliant, so how do we get them to speak to each other and get your audio going back and forth? A couple things. I am using an AXIA iQx AES 67 compliant console. For our network switch, I am using the Telos Alliance X switch. That's properly configured for AOIP. The Telos Alliance website has some suggestions if you want to use a Cisco switch or another AXIA certified switch. You can go to the website there, and you can get a list of all the ones that are compliant and can be configured properly. We can help you out with the programming on that if you don't want to deal with doing all the configs on the switch side of things. We can help you out there. Or you get an X switch that comes pre-configured to handle AOIP. It's pretty sweet. I also have a CD player because I need to get some audio and bring it into the system. So that's what I have as far as my gear here. And then I also have two of the Dante AVIO adapters. This one pictured here is the 2-channel analog input. The output is the exact same except the arrow goes the other way, and so does the audio. So, software that you'll need to accomplish this, well, there's one that is mandatory, another one that really helps out if you don't have an xNode in play. Okay, so Dante controller. You get this from the Audinate website. I'm sure I'll put a link in the video notes that show you where to get that. That's where you get Dante controller. And why do you need it? Well, because the AVIO adapters, these bad boys right here, don't have a web server built in. So the only way you can control them is via software, and that is Dante controller. Now, the good thing is once they're set up and everything's rolling, you don't need Dante controller anymore. They remember their settings. You can unplug them, you can unpower them, you can plug them back in, and they will remember. Power failure, they'll boot back up as soon as they have juice again, and they'll keep doing what they do. That's what they're built for. But for configurations, you definitely need Dante controller. The other software that I have here is Rav to SAP. Now, this is a free software that you can get from Ravenna. And basically, it will take the SDP file that we can generate out of the iQx and make an SAP announcement which Dante can see. That's it. It's a pretty quick and simple piece of software. You don't need it if you're trying to get an xNode talking with Dante and Dante talking with an xNode, because the xNodes have SAP announcements built in, and that is coming soon to the iQx, but as of right now, it's not there, so we need this piece of software. There you go. Again, it's free. You can go to the Ravenna site and get it, or I guess drop us a line. I'm sure we've got an installer file kicking around somewhere, and we can get that into your hands. So, first things first, when you plug in your Dante AVIO adapters, those go into the PoE port on the back of your X switch. They are PoE powered. They do not have a wall wart that you can plug in to give them juice. It's just via PoE. So plug them into the PoE port, and then you'll notice when you launch Dante controller that out of the box, you can't really do anything with them. You can't configure them because it is looking for the device that is, if we double click this one, is out of range. So your AXIA network lives in one sort of IP string. The device out of the box is not in that string. That's easy enough to fix. You can see I have two of them. One of them's already done for the sake of speeding this up, but this is the same process that I'm doing now, is what I went through to get that other one working. Okay, so we look at what is the link at right now, or what IP address is the device currently looking at as its static IP. Okay, so we open up our network, and on my laptop here, I am going to very briefly change my IP address to land within range get it within range. As you can see, something's happening. We are now within range. Okay, so I want to manually configure an IP address, and I don't want it to be in 169. That's not where the rest of my stuff is at. I want it to kind of be part of our comprehensive system and give it an IP address that falls in range with what else we're doing around here. And just give me one sec. Okay. Let's do 150. Why not? That has been changed. Let us now reboot the device to grab that IP address. The address has changed, and now they are both out of range, as you can see. So we should now be able to go back here and .216.10, and I believe I have laptop at 100. Okay. So you have to do that for each one of the dongles that you want to have in your system. But now my laptop's back on its IP address, and these are back on the addresses that I gave them. You should definitely have a plan, just like building out your AXIA system. You know, what are your channel numbers? What are your IP addresses for every device? Make sure you know and have it charted out. Take it from there. So I'm going to rename this one. And let's call this AVIO 2 channel in CD. Yeah, because it's going to be a CD player that I'm feeding there. Okay. And for the sake of it, I'll just reboot it, make sure it takes that setting. Now, when you first buy the dongles, they're going to come, they're probably not going to be on the latest firmware. So after this process, what you'll do is you can go to the update manager, Dante Updater. Once everything's in range and everything's black and they're not red, and you can say, okay, just go through here. So both of them are up to date. When I first plugged them in here this morning, I just had to click and say, click, update selected devices there. It took a couple minutes, then they were all good. Okay, so next thing we got to do here is we are going to want to enable AES67. So this is the prefix. I don't have a problem with it being 239.69. whatever. You can change the second string there if you want to whatever you think will fit with your network. Again, it's all part of how you want everything to roll out. If you want to maybe potentially avoid any conflicts, or you got a string that's getting really jammed up with other traffic, yeah, you can set that and change it there. But we are going to enable AES67 and reboot it with that setting. I think it's done doing all whatever it's going to do there. Okay, So as this is an input and we're injecting audio into the Livewire network via this dongle, what we do next is we go to Device and we want to create a multicast flow. Boom. This will be an AES67 flow. We will have it automatically grab one. Again, if you really want, you can set an address where it will go. Or you can just say, pick whatever one you want. Okay, so this one, it's stereo, so we're going to send both sides. We'll add it to the flow, and we will create. Boom. Right there is the address that you just want to jot down. So we are 239.69.202.218 and port 5004. Okay, we will need that as we move over to, sorry, wrong window, the iQx. So we are pulling audio in, that means that is a source. So we want to create a line input, and that is going to be the CD player coming in. The source input is an AES67 multicast, and the source 239.69.202.218 5004. It's stereo, and if you want to do any other special settings in your implementation, EQ, whatever, you can do whatever you want. We're going to apply. Okay. CD player is now there as a source coming into my iQx. So I'm just going to go over to my iQx. I'm going to select source, CD player. Okay. I now have the CD player showing up on channel 3 on my iQx. Now, we have the Dante output device, and that will be an output. So we have the audio coming in. Now let's get it out going to our speakers. So we go to the iQx, and I want to take my control room monitors and have that go out and feed my control room monitors. So first things first, you're normally going to be in standard stereo as sort of the default or disabled on these channels. You just want to make sure you're on AES67 stereo, 1 millisecond latency. This is the important part, the SDP file. Boom. You want to open it with, I selected Notepad. Copy that, all that information. You can take that, and now we need to go to RAV to SAP. Again, if you have an xNode in play on the latest firmware, they handle SAP announcements internally. I'll probably do another video and just show how that's done, but for now, SDP, paste everything in, and you can see it has noticed it. It has generated the SAP announcement. Controller monitor. And we can now go back into Dante controller and take a look at routing. There. Control room monitor is there. The speakers are going out. And it is routed in the matrix. So if you were first coming in here and it wasn't there, you would probably see that. You notice control room monitor is blue. That means in Dante controller land that is an AES67 flow. So we do the routing. We want channel 1 going to channel 1, so left to left, channel 2 right to right. That is now assigned. So if I turn on channel 3 and turn up the volume and select program 1 on the channel, there we go. I have audio coming out of the dongles. So it's coming in via a AVIO adapter. It is going out via the output adapter from Livewire. Couple things of note. You can choose which one of the Dante devices is going to be your clock if you don't have an xNode and you're in strictly an AES67 environment with your iQx. The iQx is always going to be a slave. It does not take over as a PTP master. So the iQx is a slave, so you can use it with any sort of network. Actually, you can verify that. Wrong one again. There we go. So we're going to synchronization. The sync source on the iQx needs to be P2P v2. You don't want to be on Livewire clock unless you're in a fully Livewire environment. So it is syncing to what is currently the master in this system, which is my out dongle has taken over as master. If you want to say have a preferred master, you can say I want this one to be the master. There you go. That will now take over as master whenever the Dante devices are going to be their own, are going to be providing clock to the entire system. And that's how you do it. That's how you get a signal in and a signal out via AES67 without an xNode in play.